Blog Talk Radio.
The motherfucking saga continues.
Oh, we only believe in the real gangster shit. Cause when it comes to the real niggas, it makes the shit that much harder to deal with. Yo, what's up, world? It's badass thuggin' like I usually do. And you better turn it up, bust some speakers out, cause we off the motherfucking cuff. You dig how we do it? Dog Pound Gangsters 2000 and beyond. Black.
Yeah. This Cassidy, the hustler. And right now, you listening to the Guillotine. Show them the respect they deserve, man. Off the cut radio, man. Y'all already know how they doing it, man. I need y'all to stay tuned. They've been doing it for years, so show them the respect they deserve. And you heard it out of Bars mouth. Easy.
Yeah. Just keep it moving like this. Yo, this your boy Rampage. You're not rocking with the best. With Off the Cuff Radio. Classic. History. Fix your face to all you haters. We off the cuff, baby.
Man, don't change that down. This your player partner, the legendary Cocaine. And you're tuned in live to Off the Cuff Radio. Better not touch that down. Wigland.
Tuned in to Off the Cuff Radio.
Bernie Dollars, the Queen of Trap, representing Crenshaw, and you are now tuned in with Off the Cuff Radio. What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Miss Irresistible, giving a shout out to the live show on Friday nights Off the Cuff Radio, and I'm live from the 704. Make sure y'all tune in for the blazing hot music.
What it is, what it ain't, what it do. Chill from that original lynch mob. And Off the Cuff Radio, always where it's at on Friday nights. West, y'all.
Woo! Episode 412 is on the way right now. I'm your host, King Eric, and you are now tuned in to the most livest and direct show, Off the Cuff Radio, alongside my host, T-Max, with the facts. Hold on 1 second. Try to bring him on. Hold on 1 second.
What it do, y'all, man. It's T-Max. Shout out to the head host, King Eric the Ruler. This is OTC up in the building. Monday night, we are sponsored by Buddy Boy Entertainment, Core Financial, Jesse's Boutique, Da Vinci Clothing, King Eric Productions, Dirty Basement. Man, this is going to be one of our most exciting, exhilarating, and all things, even educational at a lot of levels, because we got a shock for y'all in terms of what we're doing tonight. The guest we have tonight is one of the most legendary, illuminating ladies born and raised in L.A., doing it her way. This woman right here is behind some of the look, as Prince would say in his song, The Look, because for a lot of the motion pictures out there, we're going to get into it. We're not going to spoil the surprises right now in terms of some of the stuff she's worked on, but every movie has to have a distinct look. And this woman is responsible for bringing the awesome aesthetics to the big screen that everybody has seen. She's a veteran of the game, so much wisdom, one of the most down-to-earth, distinguished ladies, and we are so privileged to have her on. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely, consummate professional, and completely legendary Kenya Ware. How are you, ma'am?
Hold on, we need to bring him on a little bit. Studio taking a little bit.
Okay.
Law Talk need to get it together, man. We got her on the line.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna fix this right quick.
Okay.
Hold on, you still on?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. We got her, or
yeah,
we still trying to get her in? Okay.
Yeah, we got it. It was a little technical issue I'm having right here. We've been dealing with this off and on all day.
Okay.
She's on.
Okay, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes. We want to make sure we got the introduction. Hopefully you heard it and everything. Want to make sure we went right.
It was beautiful. Thank you guys. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Thank you for having me.
Man, look, it was a long time coming, but we made it happen. Yes. So King, we got to give it that round of that standing ovation, a round of applause, man.
Man, Blog Talk can get their mind right. Got me looking bad out here. So we just gonna go.
Hey, blame it on the weather and blame it on all the stuff that's going on.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Just blame it on the weather and everything else. We gonna still make it through and push through this, right?
Yes, we are.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's what we do best.
Definitely.
But yeah, we definitely love the fact that you took the time to join us for episode 412. Welcome to the archives. And you have played a very important role in not only the West Coast film scene, but also the music scene as well. And this is what we want our audience to know. Like, tell us about yourself and let the world know who Kenya Ware is.
Okay, yeah. So started out my early career, and it's still a part of my career right now in costuming, costume designer, costuming. Got my start at Death Row Records, kind of toying around and dressing the boys. I look at some of their things, the hockey jerseys, all the college jerseys they had on back in the days. Even Snoop's, I think, What's My Name video, one of the videos, and I remember that's where I started just chiming in, bringing in the product placements and calling up all the African American companies and getting placements. So it kind of my career began at Death Row Records, and I'm still doing it to this day. I'm not turning down no money. If they call me for something, I'm down.
Definitely. And one thing about it, King, y'all, especially being on the West Coast, y'all really influenced, so many styles. Because one thing about it, because we're going to get into your movie career because you've done some big pictures. We don't want to spoil that because,
right.
Your credentials are amazing in terms of what you've done. But in terms of where we're keeping it right now, in terms of the music aspect, one thing about it in show business, is that going back from when show business started, there was always the look, the aesthetic. It was always you wanted to present something. You wanted it to be representative of, your demographic. And I mean, and I mean, you're a dresser. You are responsible for making sure that, the artists are right. I mean, what was it like during that time? Because I mean, especially with the West, because we know there's the white T-shirts and the jeans, of course, the Lokes, the Carhartt jacket. I mean, pretty much, what was the development of the style in terms of West Coast as the hip hop really started, and then when it started going into gangster rap, and then from your assessment, how it evolved into what it is today? Because this is just on fashion alone. We could have a 2-hour conversation alone on the fashion trends in hip hop.
Oh, yeah.
Please, the floor is yours,
right,
lady. Let's go with it. Let's get it.
Well, when you're dealing with the artist, so we're taking it back to 91. You got to kind of channel in on who they are. So we'll take the Dog Pound, and Snoop's, his daily dress were already khakis. So, you want to enhance that. You bring it up just a little bit. Daz and Corrupt were his protégés. So you didn't want to take them away from who they were. They weren't going to let you do it anyway. So the khakis, the Pendletons, the Pendletons are important.
Right.
But then how you flip it, you start introducing them to the hockey jerseys. And then you introduce them to the Carl Kanai and the cross colors with different colors. And then you introduce them to, like, they had the college sweatshirts back in the days. and you introduce them to that, you
right.
still have you have to still keep the the khakis, but then piece by piece bring them in, and because you can't. It takes this. It's time. These men have a look that they want to keep, so you don't want to change up too quick. So I just piece by piece just brought them in, and I mean all the product placement was free. So you call Carl Kanai. Carl Kanai will come with a truck, a load of stuff, dump it, and we have a fashion show in the middle of Dads and Suits living room. You have all the hockey jerseys. They used to send us all the teams when nobody was rocking the hockey jerseys. Snoop said, I will. So, I mean, those little pieces like that counted. And we were getting all that for them. I mean, product placement was new at that point. Nobody never tapped into the product placement market. And I said, you know what? We have to. We can cross-connect the product with the artist. And get maybe a deal at the end of the day. No one was doing that. I knew the ingredients at that day. How the product placement. I mean, I used to call myself the product placement queen. I mean, I want to call up all the companies and let them know, hey, I'm doing the Oscars, or I'm doing this video or that video, and a lot of them will, for marketing purposes, will get down with us because. If that video, think about this, if that video is viewed 1 million times, then the sales for that shirt or that company goes up. So people were not tapping into the product placement. I was all into that because I was a marketing major at Cal State Northridge, so marketing was very important. And I knew, you have to strategize that. Bring the product in. It's free, but we're doing you a favor because your revenue will go up after my artist wears this. Now, you think about it, a lot of people I remember doing a movie, the Entourage movie, and I was just a part of the costuming team. And on that movie, they were charging like tequila companies like $300,000-$400,000 just to get their product seen on the movie. They weren't doing that back in the 90s. I mean, we were doing our friends' favor. So, it's very important with your artists, when you're dealing with musicians, let them have a say. So you don't want to take away from who they are. You can't because, you don't want to get clowned. I'm not getting clowned. So, fashion is still, I still get calls, for fashion. Keith Sweat and Bobby Brown called me last month for Verses. And one called me at 1 o'clock in the morning, the next morning. And what did I do? I tapped into all my vendors. I know tons of people who are making designers that are making these costumes. We go to them. We go to our leather vendors. We go to Michael Jordan, the people that we normally are used to dealing with. Jordan's been taking care of me for the last 20 years. I have a great relationship with Jordan Brand because when they were just starting out, I was getting them placed on television shows. So now they show me love 20-some-odd years later.
Okay, before we go further, ladies and gentlemen, what I told y'all from the beginning, this is going to be an educational show.
It's a trend-setting show.
This woman is going to tell you about product placement, branding, in terms of the exponential rate that, one thing about it, Kenya, is that when you do this, because I don't think people really understand the level of game that you're giving right now in terms of it. Now, there was a story one time, and you can confirm this or not confirm or what happened, because I heard at one point the situation, of course, shout out to the late, great Tupac Shakur, of course, he was one of the, on the West Coast, he was really doing it, wearing Carl Kanai. And I'd heard a story one time when Carl Kanai asked him about how much do you want in terms of you wearing my brand, and Pop was like, I don't want anything. What would I look like charging another black man when I'm supposed to be supporting another black man?
That's true.
Was that okay? So that was a true story. Okay, so
100%. I talk to Carl once a week. Carl is one of my best friends. Him and his ex-wife, my best friends, and believe it or not, Carl, you've seen Carl on most of the things I've worked on. Straight Outta Compton, Carl we had all the stuff custom made for Dre and all the characters that rocked it.
Oh,
wow.
wow.
The Tupac movie. Carl Kanai is my call. I call him in the middle of the night. Carl would start having the sewers making anything. I bring him in. He's the first. Anytime I do a movie, hands down. And if it's a contemporary movie with clothing now, it's Carl and Michael Jordan. Those are the two people probably the last 20 years I call first. April Walker, my homegirl out of New York.
Ware, yeah.
Walker Ware. She's one of my good friends. April, too. That's my soul sister number one. April gets love. I channel in on people who had my back then, and I bring them here. So anything I do, the first calls are going to be made is going to be Jordan Brand and Carl Kanai. And then everything else, and if I can get April on there, and then it'll trickle down from there. So, Carl, I remember, I'm going to take you guys back. Most people probably didn't remember this movie, but it was Josh Gamel, and one of his first movies. He was married to Fergie at that point, and he did this movie called Life as We Know It. And him and Fergie were married.
Yeah.
So I did that movie in Atlanta, and me and Josh were friends. So I said, Josh, I need you to do me a favor. He says, what? I said, I need you to rock this Jordan hat in a scene, all right? I'm going to make sure you and Fergie are straight. That dude told the directors, I'm rocking this Jordan hat in a scene. He pulled the hat off and pulled his head into the camera on the scene. Major placement for Jordan. Major. And this is in, maybe like 08, 07, 08 in Atlanta. So things like that, it makes me feel good because my family of Jordan, Charles Oakley, shout out to him. That's my partner there. Those are my partners. That's my poker partner. Poker partner and cooking. He cooks for us whenever we're in town. He'll cook for us. But things like that, you get a relationship with these actors, and you brand it, and you look out for your people because they will look out for you. You know. If they look out for you. I picked up Champion. Champion is not my new family. That people don't. They've been around for years, years and years and years. And I just got a major placement on this Showtime show, Shameless, with William H. Macy. William Macy.
Yeah.
And
from Fargo and Boogie Nights. Yeah.
Exactly. And I worked with them for years on that show. And I made sure all his stuff. Everything had to be broken down to look like it was 10 years old. Nothing could ever look brand new for him. So, of course, I called in Champion. And Warner Brothers never clears anybody. They're sticklers about product placement, but they okayed Champion. Champion ended up sending 100 pairs of shoes and about 20 boxes of clothes, and I got a whole scene dedicated to Champion on Shameless. That's the hardest thing to do on a major. This is a Showtime show filmed at Warner Brothers, and the whole scene, all the actors had on Champion shoes. No one can do that. So I'm crowning myself. Product placement is that's still my world because I'm gonna always pick up the phone and call whoever. If it's a tequila brand my friend has, or if it's a marijuana brand, I'm gonna brand it out. I'm gonna bring my friends in, and we're gonna keep this money going together in a circle. That's what you're supposed to do.
Man, you know,
people don't understand the importance behind image placement, because it's like one scene could just change your whole look, and it could change your whole brand. Yeah.
I found myself a couple weeks ago, you guys. I mean, I always kind of fall in spaces. And it came up about all the fights that are coming up, Mayweather's teams and all that. And I just picked up the phone. I'm like, I'm going to pick up the phone because I know Jordan, he used to mess with the boxing. He used to really be deep in the boxing.
Roy Jones.
After Roy Jones, he got out. He didn't want to do it. So I'm a young lady. I hit them up about 2 months ago. I'm like, I think y'all need to get back into the branding. I mean, it's so many good fights that are coming up. I mean, it's a lot of good ones. And the Pacquiao fight, he's fighting some of our friends. Let's get some shorts. And the text I got back was like, Kenya, Michael just said that he don't want to do that since Roy Jones Jr. Okay, so I left it alone. But Kenya's coming back. So 3 weeks later, I hit him again, and I get a laughing emoji. They're like, oh, my God. He said, you called 3 weeks ago, and then Pacquiao's people just called just a minute ago. I'm like, yeah, I beat him to the game. Let them know that. Let them know this woman beat them to the game. I said, come on now. I said, I'm always got that on my mind. I always got placements and how we can generate money and turn this into something bigger. You know, it's always been that. So, you know, shout out to all the brands, Carl Kanai, Jordan Brand, Reggie over there. Shout out to all of them for always looking out.
Man, and that
shows
wild,
right there how ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows how ahead of the curve you was, because even when you did with the hockey jerseys, I never even thought of that. That's like new news to me. And then next thing you know, everybody else start following that trend.
The hockey jersey, Snoop rocked that hockey jersey. It was the gold and black one. Rangers are one of them, and everybody started rocking them. We just was stepping out the box, you know, getting something different for him, because he did not. That wasn't his regular wear. You know, Snoop hockey jerseys, a college sweatshirt. He was khaki, Pendleton, all that. But you just put that little piece in there, and it flips it. It'll flip it, you know. And I was all about product placement. I still am. I mean, I remember, fun fact, you guys, in 1998, I'm behind stage, and it's a John B. concert, Destiny Child. And by this time, I'm working, if you guys have ever heard from Mecca USA out of New York.
Yeah.
I was the West Coast marketing rep for them. So I brought all those Mecca to L.A. and was placing it on all the West Coasters, because, remember, it was an East Coast thing when they let me bring it down here. So anytime somebody came to my city, they were going to rock that Mecca. I had Snoop rocking Mecca, Daz and Corrupt rocking the Mecca, and then Destiny Child, when Beyonce was there, I told them I said, girls, I really need y'all to rock this on stage, these Mecca dresses. Them girls were in the dressing room taking the clothes off and switching the stuff on I brought in there. True story, back in the days. And Beyonce during them days, so sweet. All the girls, so sweet. John B., so sweet, all the time. They knew when I was coming with the freebies, but it meant you had to rock my stuff, you know, if you wanted this.
Right.
And Carl Kanai, still, I mean, I keep Carl Kanai anytime. I keep his stuff here. I'm like, I'll rock it. I will rock his stuff, so I will make everybody fall in love with it again. If they see me in one of his old, the 90s pieces, they're like, oh, my God, where'd you get that from? Oh, don't worry. Let me know if you're doing something hot. We can get it placed on you, too.
Man, you know, and one thing about it, too, Kenya, that a lot of people really got to understand, man, because, I mean, we're just getting, oh, God, I mean, you're just taking us back on all of this, because, I mean, especially in the 90s era, because there was such a proliferation of, you know, black-owned brands, especially, of course, two black guys from Toronto, you know, African-American Clothing Alliance. A lot of people don't even know what Cross Colors and Carl Kanai, they had actually started under the same umbrella, Trends for Life, until they pretty much separated. I know that history. So it's like, I mean, but what was, you know, but the 90s represented, because when we look at that style today from the East Coast especially, because from the price point, I mean, Boss Jeans, Exhaust, Damage, I mean, Guess, you know, I mean, this was really, you know, I mean, we haven't even gotten into the starter parkas. I mean, one thing, and especially, you know, when you talk about iconic Ware, because I would think about Tupac back in the day when he would wear a lot of the UNLV Running Rebel stuff, you know, which was emblematic of his, you know, revolutionary personality. And, you know, and when you look at Brenda's Got a Baby, he was rocking the UNLV parka, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, of course, NWA with the Raiders, you know, you know, all things California. I mean, the Dodger hats, you know, I mean, it's like, you all on the West Coast. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
And NWA, believe it or not, it was this place, and this place is still my go-to place. Eric and all them would get dressed at this place in Southgate called Greenspan. And the Greenspan is still owned by the same family for the last 52, 3 years. And
oh, wow.
They used to go there before any of the concerts. They would go there and dress in there, because they had all the gangster wear in there, right? So that was my place when I worked on Straight Outta Compton. The executive producer brought me on because he wanted me to, you know, give that whole this death row thing. He knew I was from that era, so he wanted the guys to kind of, look kind of like that. And I went back to where Easy and all those guys began. And I spent 3 months at Greenspan going through their basement, all this stuff. I mean, I'm finding boxes from the 80s of all kind of stuff. Pony, you remember Pony T-shirts,
British Knights, all that. Yeah,
everything was there. They still had all this stuff in the basement, and the owner and his son, oh my God, I love them at Greenspan, let me go through everything, and I pulled most of all my key pieces that you wouldn't know between that and then Michael Jordan, they got me some vintage Nike, and then Carl Kanai. That's what pulled that whole Compton look together. It was all just finding little pieces, and it's always little pieces that you find to kind of create it. But then you got to have Carl Kanai. Carl's my right hand man. You got to have him. And back to what you said earlier, Carl was going to play Tupac, and Tupac was like, "No, you a black man. I would never do that to you, never." And that resonates with Carl to this day, and he's paid it forward to so many other people. So when Pac did that for him, Carl pays it forward to someone else. So it kind of works in a circle, And I keep reminding these people, it's enough for everybody to eat. Everybody, it's enough. You do better with sharing and keeping your circle tight and your same old people. It works. It's been working.
Definitely. Go ahead, King. Go ahead.
Yeah, especially when you're sitting there and you got to listen to the music and the style and how it resonates in the fashion. Just like I like how y'all did also the whole mafioso look that y'all came. Now, I noticed a change happened around then when Tupac got out there and he signed up there. Y'all went from khakis and hockey shirts to suits. Did you play a role in that, or did Tupac bring a role in that?
Tupac, you know what? Tupac came in, and I promise you guys, I was trying my hardest to get on. When him and Suge would go to Vegas, I'm like, I'm going, because I wanted to watch because he was so, oh God, like from the first week he got out, he transcended. It was he grew up, and I think that a lot of the artists were watching him, because when he came, everything started changing. Everybody started to get that grown man, and you started seeing things that you hadn't seen on some of the artists. Like, okay, and it wasn't at that point. They were bringing Pac created a lot of stuff himself. I won't even say that they brought in another stylist. He was doing a lot of stuff himself, But when the Versace came in, that's Kadada. She brought that in, and that's when things really transcended, when that Versace came in, and that was a direct connect from Quincy Jones and Kadada. That's what everybody was like, oh, shit, we got to catch up now. We need to catch up with them because they on Versace. Okay, we ain't got there yet, but let's go. And I just wanted to watch. At that point, I became like a student because, we hadn't got to Versace yet and all that. And
that's that big money. That's that big rap money.
Yeah, I was like, okay, all right, well, and then I started thinking for myself, shit, well, I got to start looking the part if I want to go over here. So I would have to take trips to New York to Centuries 21 to get Versace, all my stuff. I'm like, because I started seeing nobody in LA was really rocking the Versace. I would go to New York to go get mine because I needed to come back to LA to be a little bit different, I'm watching how they're doing it, so I got to change a little bit. But I was a student at that point because Pop brought that noise.
Man, but when you look at it though, Kenya, one thing about it, and one thing about when we do shows like this, because we always get more than we expect, and we absolutely love it when we do. There's always been an intrinsic link with fashion and hip hop. I mean, for those, because we're older, we remember the old Dapper Dan days. With the Gucci and the Louis, and the Louis Vuitton on the New York side on the East Coast. So I mean. Right. One thing about staying fresh and fly you know, and shout out to Dapper Dan because he's like just one of the true legends of the game in terms of really pioneering that. You know, because he would get, for those that don't know, this is a quick education. What he would do is he would get the fabrics from these designers. He would buy the fabric, you know, and then what he would do is he would just, and he makes specialized clothes. Now, as me and my brother always joke about it, we call this the old New York days. Like, this is where, like, the balling, it's like the AZ, this is the Paid in Full, this is the Guy Fisher.
That grimy New York.
This is where, like, all, like, the old New York gangsters was getting money. So it's like if you had a Dapper Dan or a tracksuit or, you know, like Rakim and they had on the Paid, you was doing it. So, yeah. But
Dapper Dan was it, and we were watching y'all. I mean, I'm watching the East Coast clothing wise because understand you guys are seasons ahead of us. So I gotta go to New York to forecast what y'all are wearing because y'all are seasons ahead of us. So I would bring that back a look. I went to New York very often. I was down there. I met a whole crew of girls to steal my girls now. I will go there, and they're like, all right, I say, you guys, this whole day, we're going to tear New York up. We got to go hit it high and low. We got to shop for everything. So that was my go-to place.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, so I mean, but when you look at it, you know, because back in the day when we look at how the music was always, because the culture is a street culture in itself. So we saw the evolutions, we saw the different iterations of as it evolved because, you know, from the street fashion to where it was, because if we break it down simply from, because we know how wild the 70s were, you know, with the disco era, you know, 78, Sugar Hill Gang, the first real big rap record. Then we get into the 80s. So we're getting into the tracksuits, you know, UTFO, we're getting LL, we're getting Run DMC. Of course, Run DMC really gets their product, you know, Adidas. Because one thing about it, I think a lot of people, and this is a conversation that has always been had about how hip-hop culture has really pushed the influence because, and it could be a bit long-winded, but I think I have to articulate this because I want our audience to get a full comprehension of the significance of something that a lot of people said was never going to last because hip-hop culture was born from the street. It was black and brown people having a way to express themselves, but because we were marginalized. So as we start to make our music, people try to shut us out, but our message is not going to be denied. As we keep going, it becomes hip. When it becomes hip, it becomes fashionable. When it becomes fashionable, people really pay attention. When Run DMC does my Adidas starts taking off because Adidas is hip hop in terms of, you know, I mean, when they shouted out my Adidas. And I mean, that was like it right there. And then, you know, that, you know, started taking off. I mean, the tracksuits, you know, I'm a diehard Nike guy. Nike wasn't there yet until Michael Jordan came in '84 when his shoes. And Michael, you know, because sports and hip-hop go together. Michael was, you know, when Michael... you know, it all goes together. And I mean, so you're seeing, especially at a panoramic view, black people becoming a face for these brands. They're you know, because we epitomize the style. We elicit cool. We are a lot, we trailblaze on a lot of things that a lot of people may not, because part of hip hop is being original, is being you. So we're going, and I'm not even getting into the 80s where we start getting into Public Enemy, you know, Chuck D with his trademark Raiders jacket, you know, Ice-T in '86 with Ron Page, where he's got the player suit on, with the gold. And then we're not even getting to the gold chains yet. We're not even getting to the '90s with the Timberland boots and the hoodies and all that. How far can we keep going with all of this?
Yeah, but then when you come back to the West Coast, okay, we're picking up the starter jackets, right? And then we have a starter jacket. So you have to understand that the gang culture was there. So you have the gang culture picking up the sports. And everybody has different hoods, have their own starter jacket, their own hat. They start picking that up. So we're watching I'm just closing my eyes and I remember the outfit I had on when I was in freaking like elementary school or whatever. I had the starter jacket on. I needed to wear my Levi's. They had to be creased. I had my shell-toe Adidas on and then the fat laces. We were doing that. Like, we seen it and we wanted to have it, but then we start giving it own twist. All right, so you're on the blue side. So you got to put the blue strings in. The people on that side have to put the red strings in. It just
flamed
took up.
That
was
flamed
the
up
culture.
And glued up.
Yeah. It was the culture.
Yeah, when you got.
Yeah, it was. We had the Elise. We had to be at least. Y'all were doing the Fila, but okay, so I had to be Elise from head to toe. Okay, and then the Gucci boots came out probably like in '87, and then all the girls, we were all young girls, but we had to have the Gucci boots. That's what they were wearing. So now I want my bamboo earrings. I want my Turkish rope, and I want that in L.A. So we're watching your seasons and bringing them here. We're doing it,
Yeah,
but we spin it a little bit and just add our little flavor.
Yeah, and that's one thing about it, man. If we get into like even with some of the sets out there. The '60s rocked the Seattle Mariners. I think Athens Park rocks the Anaheim Angels because of the A. Of course, Broadway Gangster Crip, shout out B.G. Perico and all them because they started, he wears the, you'll catch him wearing the B. Of course, if you have the blood sets, you're going to have we got just like with the Pyrus, they're going to be rocking the Philadelphia Philly, just like with a lot of blood sets, they're going to be wearing the Boston Red Sox. What I'm saying? So, it's all about, Cedar Block, red Cincinnati hat.
Mm-hmm. It's so much, and all these hats. When we go, let me tell you the feedback we get on motion pictures. The baseball league, we can't clear not one hat for no movies, nothing, because they've made so much off this is the LA gang culture. They made so much money, but they don't want us to rock their stuff on a film. We will get in so much trouble if we have a hat placed on anybody. They're very particular. They'll let it slide, but if it's a scene, if somebody's smoking a joint or if they're speaking profanity, you can't rock any of their hats. But the black culture have made you. The black culture has made a lot of these designers. UGG boots, all right? I put UGG boots before they were even popular, right? I got them placed on a show back in 2000. Nobody even cared about those big old boots. When their revenue start going up, then they start shutting us out, all right? All of them. Under Armour. Let's talk about Under Armour. I was one of the first people to get them placed on the UPN show back in, what was that? That was in 2001. Under Armour had just started freaking in a basement. They sent me like 15 pieces. I had it placed on there on a show, and revenue started going up. And some of those brands piss me off. Louboutin. Everybody watching Louboutin. Everybody's like, oh, I gotta have my Louboutin, my red bottom. Let me give you red bottoms. 2000. Okay, in 2000, Tracy Ellis Ross was one of the first people really taking that brand when we were doing Girlfriend. Right. No one cared. Those shoes were freaking, $200? And then they gave us a 30% discount off the shoes. But then now, look at them now. Yeah. So this is the brand. I've watched these brands. I've watched how they showed me love when they was just two people working for them. Now they're corporations. bigger corporations. You know, I gave them their first plug on the TV thing. Under Armour, I'm hands down one of the first people that got them on TV on UPN. And Reggie Hayes from Girlfriends rocked it, and someone else. So, you know, I'm all in the branding, but you don't. One thing I don't like, don't shut me out when you make your billions of dollars, because you got to remember who got you on TV in the first place. And that's what I love about Michael Jordan brand. They won't shut me out. They show me love. I don't care what state I'm in. I don't care, you know, if I need Bobby Brown and them, I needed Jordan in 24 hours. Man, somebody went and got that thing on a plane from Seattle and got that hit next day. So
those are
that's
those, I
love,
think, the
right?
Fire Red 5. Those are the suede. I think he had on those suede 5s, the Toros.
Yeah, they were
5.
pulling.
Yeah,
they were pulling stuff because it was last minute, and whatever was in that room, they got it. I was trying to get them the Travis Scotts before they even came out, but they're like, no, we can't pull them right now. I'm like, please let me. I said, you know, if I got Bobby rocked the Travis Scotts before the world. He said, I know we can. I'm like, please. I begged for those Travis Scotts because I wanted Bobby, the bad boy, to introduce them to the world, you know. And then Kevin Hart, when I work with him. I was talking to Kevin Hart's people, and he's like, hey, we got to get Kevin, you know, he got to get on that VIP list, the VIP list at Jordan. I'm like, oh, that's kind of hard because everybody can't be on that list. I mean, right now it's all about Travis Scott, Drake, Travis Scott, DJ Khaled. Right. That's the list right there. That's it. And, you know, that's the grand list. So,
you know,
yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah, no, I was saying, but it's wild though because I mean, when I think about it, because shameless plug, and I sent you some stuff too. You can check your phone. I've been a Nike guy for a lot of years. For over the past 25 years. I remember in 1997 when they started running the ads in the magazine. Shout out to Double XL magazine because they were one of the first ones to do it. And I saw. Yeah, and I mean, I saw. I'll send you that one too, that picture too. And I mean, you know, where they had the Trunners. I mean, this is because I used to work in a shoe store, so I'm remembering when we're getting like the word in terms of the Jordan branding. Like this is when it's nascent. You know, they're still developing it. It was Morehouse, North Carolina A&T, and Cincinnati that were and Cal. Those were like the first schools back. Not Morehouse. It was Cal, North Carolina A&T, and Cincinnati. Those were the first three schools because they were doing the test run. And I mean, of course, I remember when the Jumpmans came out, the first Jumpmans, the white and navy blue. You know, Kevin Garnett wore those back in the day. I mean, when Ray Allen, you know, when he came out of UConn, you know, in addition to negotiating his own deal with help from Johnny Cochran, rest in peace, you know, of course, I believe Michael had approached Ray Allen about, you know, I'm starting up this my brand, you know, my company, and I'd like you to represent it. You know, I think Kerry Kittles, I want to say, was part of it as well, possibly. So, I mean, so Michael, for what he was doing, because he had already conquered it, and the only next step, logical step in that aspect of time, because we really got to look back to where Nike started their dominance. Jordan was the face of it, basically heading of the battle. Now Jordan is basically going and starting his own, and just takes it all from there. I mean, and I said all that to say because when you look at the impact Michael had just from the level of athletics and popularity, those shoes have transcended now into a level of a stratosphere of just an undescribable, just an undescribable aesthetic of the elite. I mean, when you start seeing, you know, mainstream celebrities like Jason Sudeikis, you know, or whomever, I mean, you know, you're seeing them wear it. You know, I mean, you're talking about, we're not even into the Durham Beckers. Shadow Door and Becker Children's Hospital, which those shoes, all those profits from those sales go directly to the hospital. The Travis Scott, because what you said, going back, Kenya, to what you said, I can understand why they didn't probably want to do the Travis Scott, because those were signatures for him. So they wanted to kind of keep it. They wanted to have that rollout specifically for him. We're not even getting to the Carhartt collaborations with Eminem. We're not even getting into the Cole collaborations that they have. Yes, I know.
The OVOs are my favorite. I like that, the OVOs. When he collaborated with him. That was it. When Drake came in, that was like it right there.
Yeah,
that was
when
it.
I found out they were, I was like, whoa. I was like, man, Nike just choked it out on everybody.
and see and let me tell you where my plane is going, you guys, so you can see where my mind is going. So being that I played a role in the growth of some of these companies, right? Getting them here, and then you guys see me with my launch pad right now. Producer's chair now. I've been in the producer's chair for a while, but y'all have to understand it takes a little while for a woman to really, in the West Coast, all that, to really move about.
Right.
I was one of the first black girls that got a license deal at Stars back in 2003. But everybody had foreshadowed the woman. People they might know that, but I went and got my own deal there when they weren't even doing that. I did the first Dog Pound Snoop Dogg documentary through my company and got the first licensing deal for 2 years under my company by myself. And Daz got down with me. Daz is that's my ex, but he's still a good business partner. When I need to call him.
Right.
Big U's with me now. That's been family since I was a kid. He was a kid, but I'm taking it now.
Yes.
Yeah, Big U. That's my right hand right there. Like we got a lot of good deals going on because we see it. And a lot of things are in our hand, and we're not afraid to share it. Like, I'm like, okay, bro, what do you think about this? So he trusts my judgment, I trust his. But my thing is with this, you guys see me working on the Raymond Washington project. When I close my eyes, I see it bigger than most people can imagine. They put it on a lower scale, but my thing is branding and showing the world something different. Of course, not glamorizing anything, but showing a culture of how this began and transcending it. And then, getting brands involved. I just see so many big things because I want to put all the things that I have learned all these years into, my first real, series production that I know it's gonna go to another level, And I just imagine,
Right.
I mean, God, I was on the phone with Charles Oakley telling him about the C.R.I.P story. Charles was like, huh, Kenya? I'm like, Charles Oakley, you don't know Raymond Washington? He's like, no. I said, well, let me educate you. So it's I'm taking all the stuff that we've talked about, I'm gonna take that all in and bring it. This launch pad is something that I'm doing and involve everybody that I've ever worked with. I'm like, I need the team, the people who got down with me. I mean, Carl, I might need him to do a specialty shirt, something designed that's something what Raymond had on, he wore back in the days, but it's something custom that Carl can come out with now, or, like Nike Cortez came later, but maybe a company could create something that he wore, a shoe that he wore, like that we can bring it back. I'm just trying to cross-connect everybody and give everybody like a seat at the table, and, because branding is so important. It's so important to me, and Raymond stories, that's like my baby right now, you guys. I just can't. I have to throw that in. I took like 20 steps because I had to get him. I had to get him out.
Kenya, we are glad that you threw that in because, we talked about this before the show because this is something because one thing about it is we like to this is something that we love to pace it and we love to let it organically flow. You mentioning it because now we can go full throttle into this because you and me had the pre-interview conversation and we chopped it up heavy on that. King and myself, we had that conversation, so we're going to go ahead and get full on into it now. One thing about it is California is pretty much known. Obviously the Bloods and Crips story is the most prevalent one. We saw Oliver Stone with Colors. We've seen Baron Davis with, Bloods and Crips Made in America. So what makes your documentary, upcoming documentary, so spectacular, Kenya, is because there's so many questions we have to ask you in terms of your opinions, and we're just going to kind of, lean into it here. But the thing is that there has never been a documentary from the scale, because like you said, you have a different vision for it, because basically you are going from a panoramic view of basically directly telling the whole Crip story in a way that has never been told. I mean, shout out to, Raymond, shout out to Stanley, shout out to Barefoot Pookie. I mean, we talking about, we talking about 60s, 8 trays, 5 Deuce. We talking about...
Shout out to Kev Mack and all them, because they have been... I've been in everybody's archives, Barefoot, Pookie, Q, all their archives, digging in their stuff. Pookie knows. I mean, that's every day in the morning time. I get 2 calls in the morning. 2 calls early in the morning. The 2 calls I get is Raymond's mother and Pookie. That's my daily calls for the last year. Those we have these conversations because we need to keep it going every day. Every day it's a dialogue.
Yeah, and I mean, we have to look at essentially because, this is off-the-cuff radio, and we always going to keep it real in terms of speaking the facts on it, even when we dive into certain things. One thing about it is, of course, people have to understand the etymology in terms of the language. We have to understand exactly where it started in terms of the acronym of initially meaning community in a party revolutionary service or community revolution in action. I mean, there's so many different elements of it. Service, but then we look, because basically the Crips were birthed from that same level of, the Black Panthers in terms of the spirit of it. We're not even getting into the history of the city of Compton in terms of how it was, predominantly white at one point. A lot of people don't know this until 1948 until 1948. When the federal government passed the Anti-Discrimination Housing Act, which basically ended housing discrimination. So you had Black people moving into Compton and the white people were moving out, the white flight. So then we also get into it, too, where we actually have some of the white gangs that were terrorizing the Black gangs, like the Spook Hunters and a lot of other white terrorist gangs that were in. This is where you started seeing a lot of these Black, the Black people forming these coalitions to protect themselves. And the Crips became one of the most notable, with Raymond and Tookie, bringing it together.
And before it was Raymond and Tookie, before it was Raymond and Tookie, the people always forget Craig Craddock, and that was the first person. Craig was killed, unfortunately, when he was 19, but that was the first person that Raymond confided in. That was the one when he came up with that name. It was those two sitting in the room. They were sitting in there having that conversation, and then of course he gets he's killed off at 19. So then you have the Tookie to come in. You have the Melvin Hardys to come in, the Michael Conceptions to come in. You the Lonnie Keelans, the Michael Christians. You have all them coming in. When he's forming this, but initially, this is a Raymond and this is a Craig Craddock conversation at first, and then it trails on to everybody else. That's where it began when they were young. They were kids. They're 14 years old. So that conversation happened. That was prior to everybody else going. And I mean, you go into 1970 in his recruitments, he's meeting everybody. He's meeting all these people in 70. Recruiting everybody. So that's when your Tookies come in. That's when your Crip Crazy, your Mac Thomases, your Little James Comptons, your Mad Dogs, your Motos are coming in. They're coming in when he's in the 70s, 72, 70, 72. So. People, they have a misconception. I mean, I've talked to Crips in Africa, in Iran, all around the world, and, they have this thing on, Tookie started the Crips, and I have to, I don't reprogram them at this point because I'll let the story tell itself, but, I mean, Raymond was gone in 79, so of course, Tookie, he was the popular face at that point, but we have to get this out there, and I promise, Raymond's mom, we're gonna tell an elegant story. We're not gonna glorify anything, but we want to tell the truth about where it manifests from, and maybe we can save some lives. Maybe it'll save a life or two. But if we get it right and tell about the community and why it was started and what was going on in the brain of a 14-year-old, where he felt that he had to carry this on his shoulders, we got to get deep into that. That's a lot for a 14-year-old to carry on his shoulders. Where's your mind at this point? Something is missing. All the people around you are dying, all the people you look up to. So now you at 14 want to be the hero because everybody else that you've looked up to has gotten assassinated. So we got to peel all that apart, and it's going, for me, I tell people, I said, it's more than 90 minutes for me. Raymond is more than 90 minutes. Raymond is 4 or 5 seasons to really peel apart, to really get deep into the single family, the single mom that raised Raymond and his brothers. There's 5 boys. You got to dig deep into why. What was it like in that household? Raymond was the only one out of all the brothers that were really involved in the gang culture. Everybody else lived this kind of like a straight line. So it's a lot to tell, and I'm grateful, you guys, to have his mother, who takes business calls with me. She's turning 91 years old on Friday, and she takes meetings with me over the phone. I'm grateful for his daughter, Ray Ray. I'm going to tell you who I'm grateful for, and then we're going to go back to that. His daughter, Ray Ray, little Raymond, his nephew, Ron.
Shout out Ray Shauna,
yeah. I'm grateful for them, Barefoot Pookie, Big U, all these people, my partner, Jerron, all of them that are on the forefront, supporting this, KevMac, SMAC, all of us, it's a group effort, with the documentary. And then, of course, when we get to the series, the television series or film then it's gonna grow into something even bigger. Because who's to say that Michael Mann or one of these big freaking directors won't come and want to get down? Of course, I want to get an African-American director. I really want one. It's just that sometimes, people don't see your vision, at the beginning. Benny Boom, shout out to Benny Boom. He's down with us. He's the first one that stepped up to say, hey, I'm down with you. We haven't, I respect him. But back to Raymond's mom, when I take production meetings, because we're trying to get networks to pick up the series, Raymond's mom joins me on the calls. She's very keen. She gets on there and tells, who she is, her age, and she sits there, listens to what's going on, asks questions. And the people find it so remarkable because she is sharp as a tack. She knows everything. It's like 91 years. You would think the woman is maybe in her 50s. Just very on point, but hands-on. And I like that. I like for the networks and people to talk to us to see that this mother is hands-on. This is her baby that she birthed. She birthed the founder of the C.R.I.P.S, so it's very important for them to hear her voice, that, just to hear anything in her voice that, it might pick up, that this is transparency, you guys. We need this to go. We need this story to be told. We really do.
Yeah. And when you look at a lot of, and one thing about it is everybody just looks at it from one part of it, but the documentary, but the history, is all blue, in terms of, so many. On the roster, you got Melvin Hardy, Benny, you got Batman, you got Jamel, you got Raymond Cook, Christensen,
Donald Archie, all them others, all these people. It's so many. And you guys, if you guys came to my house, my living room looks like 1969. I have boards all around where I have done this research on every aspect from the day Raymond was born and everybody he's affiliated with, every street he's crossed. I wanted everything to be put on a vision board. So when you go into these pitch meetings, when you go into these meetings, you got 20 minutes to sell. And I have every character that's kind of stepped foot in his life, anybody, they have a board. Pookie has a board. Craig Munson has a board. Batman has a board. All of them have boards because I needed to dig into who they were and how they connected with Raymond. So it's kind of like a piece by piece on how this all began. Because when you go into these pitch meetings, you're dealing with people who are maybe in they're white culture, and they're white, and they're probably they're 30 to 35 years old, and they weren't even born when the Crips, came about. So we basically have to go in there and teach them all about, this culture, why it's important, and why they need to buy it.
And from an educational perspective, where something that is, that has been very violent at times, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't have a heart, and that's the most important thing, because when you're dealing, one thing about it with presentations is that, and, when you're looking at a lot of these documentaries that are so well made, these are situations where you're dealing with people who actually are understanding the real emotions, the people, because the thing is, people look at it from just the surface, but you don't understand these are individuals that were born, and you have to look at where the formation was, where it began to, where it was fertilized, and then what the offshoots were from it. And these are people that just, when the inner city situations happen, people fall into stuff, and it is what it is, but it doesn't make them any less important, because I believe everybody who is vital, their culture is something that has a story, because it's influenced so many rappers behind it. When we talk about Crip rappers, and we can say this because a lot of them, because there's so much. We haven't even talked about Sugar Bear, who invented the Crip Walk. We haven't even gotten to that yet.
And the whistle.
When you talk
the Crip
about
Walk, the whistle, all that.
Yeah.
The layers are deep.
When you think of that culture, then you have to break it down. Okay, there's the fashion party. There's the whistling. There is the Crip Walk and the dancing, the girls, everything. But it started, for the LA culture, it all started there, and it continues on now. It keeps on going. The whistle.
Right. Even the significance of the flag being even with the significance of the with the flag to the left, no Crip left behind. That's a lot, just like, where the Bloods, have their flag to the right, Blood should be right by your side, blue, no Crip left behind. There's so many layers to this. And one thing I wanted to ask you this, because you are you're an authority on this. You stayed in L.A. You were really out there with these people in terms of when it was at its height. Because we look at it with NWA, because if we break it down, because for all the shit NWA said on the records, and they said a lot, they never really threw out their sets like that. If you were from there, because we got to give our listeners another history lesson, because you got to remember, gangbanging culture, as we knew it on the East Coast, we didn't know really anything about it until everybody would say NWA. I'm like, no. NWA really opened up the door.
DJ Quick. It was DJ Quick.
Yeah, but
it was DJ Quick. For me, it was Ice. Okay, let's go Ice-T, but Ice-T was just. I don't know if we knew he was from Crenshaw, but when he's Crenshaw on that side, but then when you have Quick coming out, he's talking about I'm on a Rambia North. He's telling you every block he's on in his hood, how he hangs and banging on that hood. I'm like, Ice-T we knew he was from the blue side, but we didn't know. I don't know if we knew. What you say?
I think it was from Five Deuce. I could be mistaken, but I think it was Five Deuce Hoover. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but he didn't. It was not okay to let that be known at that point. It was still kind of like.
That's my whole point.
You understand?
It was scaring people off.
Yeah, I can't let him know that I am from. I wear blue, so but I'm not calling out my block right now. But I just remember vaguely, but then Snoop came along, but then Quick was there before that. He's calling out. He's banging. Tell me if there's somebody different, but he's calling out really banging.
If you look at subliminals though, Think about Compton's Most Wanted in 1989, Straight Checking Them.
Yeah.
Well, I think not
Yeah.
Compton, not Straight Checking Them, the Blue Cassette. If you knew, then you knew
the blue tape.
The Blue Cassette. Trag knew. Blue Trag knew all blue. MCA, boom, bam, Chili.
I was talking to the Chill the other day. The Chill is getting down with us on the music side, and 8. I was talking to them a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
We have this Raymond conversation all the time. So shout out to them. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Yeah, you guys. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on that about the movie. Is it going to have like a soundtrack? And if it does, who's going to be on there?
Okay, so what we're doing, so the documentary first, okay, so that thing is going to be it's getting edited down in a couple of weeks, and we have a certain amount of slots. When you deal with documentaries, the scoring goes on, and how it works during the documentary, you have different songs playing in different scenes of bringing in, like when Pookie's interview comes up or something comes up, we have something playing in the background. So what I did, I wanted to get some new artists involved because I have this thing about I like new people to get a chance. People don't always give the newbies the chance, or someone that's been grinding for a long time. So I just kind of put out on the birthday page, hey, I want to get some new artists. I want you guys to send me your music.
G for Rico.
Yeah, and I asked you, and people have been sending some amazing music. I mean, some guys that are, oh my God, so talented. I haven't gotten girls, on it, but the men have sent some music. So we're going to just go through, when we go through the editing process, we're going to see what songs fit where. So that's for the documentary. The soundtrack for the series, that's going to be on a whole different level because once the network gets involved, of course, I always make sure when I'm doing my contracts that I control my merchandising and my music. I don't play that. I learned that from previous deals. And music is important to me. I will not let anybody, control the music from anything outside of our circle because we are music.
Right.
I mean, we are the music. We got so many talents around us, new and old, and it's in my thing was when I close my eyes, I see some of the artists from back in the days coming together with some of the newer artists, and then also I'm reaching out to like 8 and all the old, the guys that have been doing this music game. I want to create something like a self-destruction, something like that to bring, I want something newer, younger Crips that rap to be a part of it, and then you have some of the older Crips that have been doing this and kind of bring those two cultures together, and then because we got to heal. I mean, we have to heal. We have to heal. I mean, I was just thinking, look at the guy, what's his name, Rondo Bondo? Am I pronouncing it right?
Rondo.
Rondo, the little young boy from Chicago. Rondo Bondo?
Quavo, you had Quavo Rondo, and then you had King Von that got killed.
Yeah, he's a Crip. He's a young little guy, and his music is good, and he's a Crip. And I see people like that because he's young. So, you get a young artist like that, and then you bring in one of the older, another Crip that's been doing music, a Corrupt, a Sonny P, or, somebody like that, a King T, somebody, MC8, one of them, and, they bounce off of each other. I mean, it's something, I want Raymond's, I want his soundtrack once we get there, because we're not even there. We have to wait, to cross our T's and dot our I's, with the network, because you'll be jumping the gun saying what you're going to do. You're going to have to be in a partnership with like a major network, so you guys are going to have to come together. But I still stand on my music. I want that to be. It has to coexist with that. The music has to go along with that because this Raymond Washington came before all of this. I mean, when you see the Snowfalls and you see the Boys in the Hood and all that, we're telling the story before they even came. We're telling the story of how they came to be. Because if it wasn't for Raymond and all this, then they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be able to tell the story. It wouldn't be a Crip side. So we're setting the standard. So it has to be done. It has to be done just eloquently. It has to be done with love and touch and the family involvement, and the right directors involved and just the right people that come in there. Everything has to be, it's a sensitive subject. I take this thing wholeheartedly, and everybody's not going to be invited to the table. It has to be done right. And I say, well, what if, like, you get a big director like Michael Mann or, like one of those big ones. What if they came and said, oh, I want to do it, like a white director? I don't know how I would feel about that, because to me it has to be told from someone who has shared the pain that we've shared. And I think all of us have shared some sort of pain, with being black. And that comes with, something. The police, the racism and all that. We feel the pain. So I just feel like it needs to be someone who has felt that like we felt it. Do you guys agree?
It's got to be an LA thing. It's got to be an LA story because I've always said, because when you're dealing with something from that level, there has to be an intimate understanding, because that's when the material is infused with life, because you can't artificially inseminate something if you haven't been there. You have to understand the nuances, the feeling, culture, conflicts, compassion. It's an all-encompassing element of telling a true story.
Hey, T-Mac.
Yeah.
Hey, I was gonna add this on to it, and this is where the music plays a key, because this is why this is a special show to me, because you are around the people that made huge contributions into this rap game and in the music world as a whole. Now, what you learn under being with Death Row, you learn a lot about sequencing, because sequencing plays a key role in delivering timeless music.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. And, I've handpicked some of the people who were in charge of, like, artist development, like at Death Row, like a guy named Roy Tesfaye. Like, he's getting down with me on there. He was the one that basically held everything together. He went to high school with me, but he held all the music together. He had all the tours together. He had all the bookings together. He had everything. He knows the ear. He knows, he was one of the ones that discovered Lil Bow Wow. So, people like that I trust, because they've been behind success stories. And, of course, everything that I've sat and watched with Death Row, you got to take the good, the bad, and the ugly, because it was not all ugly. It was, we were part of this dynasty of music. Nobody couldn't touch Death Row. Yeah. So, you cannot take that away. Death Row, we set it up. I remember we were one of the first, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole the whole roster, we were took over one plane. I remember when Snoop performed at the MTV Awards, he performed "The Murder Was a Case." We had the whole plane. Yeah, the whole plane, all of us. We had the whole I think we had a whole floor at the Michelangelo Hotel in New York, and we did it our way. Shit got wacky, but it was fucking amazing. I wouldn't change that for the world. Oh my God, the things that we've been around and seen, and the East Coast, it wasn't always bad. We used to go down to New York and hang out with Naughty by Nature. They would pick us up from the airport. They were good friends. Everybody was all good. It just got wonky at the end, but we had love for the East Coast. It was at one point. It was love.
One thing about it, King, because you were part of that era, so me and King have to thank you for your contributions to that as well, because I remember when the Chronic first hit, because when we first, because we were all young back in the day, so it's like, I was like 15, I was 14 when the Chronic was released in 1992, so I'm remembering when I first see the video for Nothing But a G thing. So this is when, and I'm still like, because this is a couple of years before I really get into my hip hop education from a journalism perspective in terms of actually reading like the Source magazines and all that. So I'm really not hip to the whole story of everything. King was younger than myself back in the day, but King was already on it. So you're looking at a situation when we see, so I'm not even really understanding like the whole thing of when Dre left. I knew Dre left NWA, but I didn't know all the story behind that. All I know is he dropped I watch Rap City one afternoon coming home from school, and I see this video, Dr. Dre, Nothing But a G thing, and it's new, and I'm like, okay, because I mean, you got to remember, this is coming a couple months after the 187, aka Deep Cover, that him and Snoop did for the Deep Cover movie. So this is already done set it off right there. That's the bomb that's already set it off. So like everybody's like, yo, like how they gonna fight? Then we get another like then we're like, wait a minute, Dre's doing a solo record and he's got Snoop on it.
Yeah,
and we're not even on.
And I had that source with. And I had that source issue where he had the cover, when he told him the gun through his head on the source cover.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this thing is gonna be crazy. This thing gonna be crazy.
And I'm like, dude, and we didn't even know about Rage, Corrupt, Dad. We didn't even know about the Dog Pound yet. So when we heard the Chronic, when it finally dropped, oh my God!
But all those people were placed. You have to understand that wasn't a planned situation. I mean, you're at the studio, and when you're at the Village Recording Studio over there by off of Santa Monica, and you got a whole hungry people. You know, people were waiting, laying on the couch, sleeping up there for weeks, hoping to get 8 bars. They wanted to rap. Dre didn't. Things happened organically there. I mean, it was a Snoop and Dre thing. But then Dre starts strategically, the brilliant man he is, he's placing people. You know, them boys didn't know that they were going to be on this song and that song and this song and have a place in here and the same shit and this, that, and they didn't know. They just happened to be there. You know, I remember because I met Snoop before Daz even moved down here. It was I remember Suge from the NWA's Bodyguard days and Dre from over there. So when they're starting their own label, you know, I get introduced to them by Tracy. And Tracy Jernigan, one of my good friends, that's my love bug right there. She was Easy's girl at the time. So let's cross out Death Row. Death Row ain't even here yet. I'm over here with Tracy as my best friend, and Ruthless is going strong. And I'm over here. I meet them, so it's all about that now. Ruthless, and I'm learning Easy, and we're staying at his apartment on weekends and WA and all this. And then I remember when the riffs started coming in. I remember, you know, when the Dre is going over here, Sugar's coming up, and now he stepped up to the forefront. And I met Suge right when all this is. 187 is I think just about. I think it was recorded or something, and I meet all of them, and we all hang out. And Snoop gets introduced to the picture, and we're all hanging out. Corrupt is not here yet. Dad is not here yet. Rage is not here yet. No one's here yet. It's Snoop there, and then everybody starts being placed at this point. They're coming in. Everybody's dropping in at that point. You know, and Suge was so smart, and Dre too. DOC as well. You know. Dick Griffey gave. I mean, he was giving them. I remember the first Death Row album on Cahuenga. Yeah, and Dick Griffey stepped in and was giving him the game. You know, then you had David Kenner. You know, who came in. You know, with the whole mafioso style Italian lawyer shit. You know,
shout out to David.
Yeah, David was. Oh, David Kenner. I haven't seen him in so long. He's but. Everything, it was brilliantly done. I mean, people can say whatever they want about Death Row. That was hands down the dynasty history. Nobody could ever emulate that label. You know, Sharitha, that's one of my best friends. I talked to her before. I was talking to her before we had the interview. My dog from day one. I mean, when I first met her, she didn't like me. You know, she was managing. You know, she came up. I knew everybody, but she didn't know who I was. And she pulls up in the Benz, and I was like, damn, I want a Benz. I mean, we weren't even on that level, but I was like, who is this chick? And she didn't, we became best friends later, but she was a boss. And that was my first picture of a woman fucking boss playing. She's in charge of the dudes, and they're listening to her. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I like that. I like that boss style. The guys are looking up to you, and you telling them what to do? Oh, yeah, that's me. So I used to watch her, move. Just how she moved. I mean, it was great.
Now, this is 40 right here. This is 40. This is 40 right here. Now, see, what I observed from Death Row, because I remember Tupac saying something real funny on one of his shows when he said, everybody in the road got cases, even the females. Now that let me believe that you had to be real tough to really get down with the get down over there. And this was actually a surprise revelation about you. And big shout out to my man Art of Dialogue for the dope interview that he did with you.
Yeah,
you was the one. You was the one that was fussing with Easy on Rufus Radio, and I didn't even know that was you.
Hell yeah, I was getting down with him. And you know what? I'm on, you guys, a shout out to the new documentary that's coming out, because I'm on the new documentary, the new Eazy-E documentary coming out, and we actually break down that whole freaking thing that the exchange that me and Eazy had. And it was over, it was over Tracy. It was over, it was personal to me because, at that point, we know these dudes. They're rappers, they're young, they got multiple women, but if you're my homegirl, I'm getting in your ass. You're not gonna be playing on my homegirl. I'm gonna ride with her. And that day, Daz and them got on there. They were arguing with him, following behind the whole everything that was going on. Whatever. If Dre's mad at y'all, we mad at y'all too. So it was my time to go and ride on him for Tracy. Like, okay, well, they riding on you. Nigga, I'm riding on you for my homegirl. Fuck you. What now? And we was getting them in every direction. This nigga's like, Eric's like, well, damn, I'm arguing with them two, and then she pops in arguing about my relationship. Well, goddamn. I wish, man, we were all at the studio that day, and man, Michelle was there, DOC, we were all there. We were just taking turns. Why we called up to Ruthless Radio, I don't know. We wanted the problem.
Look, y'all wanted smoke before smoke became a thing.
We wanted that smoke. We wanted that smoke bad, because we knew that nobody wasn't going to do anything to us. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't think I've ever said this on the interview. All right, so you guys remember Jack the Rapper back in the days, like in the freaking 90s, like what was that? That was like 90. The last one was like in 1991, right? Jack the Rapper?
This isn't going to be about a fight that happened, was it?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, this is the fight.
The fight. But okay, I'm down there with them, okay? I'm down there with them, and I'm walking in, me and Little Malik, shout out to Little Malik, and all that, and we walk in.
From illegal, yeah.
Yeah. We walk in, and behind us is an all sea of red. And I'm, all the all the Suge boys. And all I know is that they ran toward each other, and me and Malik hopped under the table. And we were looking under the table at the fight. I'm like, oh shit, I ain't coming up. Malik's like, I ain't coming up either. We were under the fucking table while they're fighting at Jack the Rapper. I'm like, oh shit, what am I getting into? And this is the beginning. And I'm like, how do I keep on being around these crazy dudes? Every time we go somewhere, you guys behave badly. Get to Atlanta, y'all behave badly. We go to this state, y'all behave badly. Everywhere we go, you behave badly. We were looking under the table, but it was like some kids. We kept poking our eyes out, and all we see was, the sea of red just beating up everybody. I'm like, okay, we're going to stay here until they walk. Malik and I was like, we are not coming out of here. Hell no. That was just dope. I mean, I just had the fondest memories of everywhere we went. There's a goddamn problem. Everywhere we went. Everywhere.
Hey, hold on, guys. Hold on 1 second. I think we got a 213 call on the line. Let's see who this is.
213, L.A. What it do?
Hey, yo, what up with it, man? I'm just calling in to say it's an incredible interview. I'm calling to support Kenya Ware. That's a great woman right there, independent lady doing great things, and I just called to show my support for her, give her flowers while she's here, and let you guys know this is a great interview. That's all I want to say.
We appreciate you. What's your name, man? We appreciate you.
My name, this is G. Lou, homie.
G. Lou, big. What you do, man, from the 213?
Hey, Kenya, what's up? I just called to support Kenya and tell her she's doing an incredible job with everything she's doing, and we just want to give her flowers while she's still here.
Definitely.
And just say we support her to the fullest. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Dude, we thank y'all.
Appreciate
We
it, bro.
thank you for listening, man. Thank you. We appreciate you
Oh,
listening.
man, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem, bro. You guys keep doing a great job. Peace.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you, man.
bro.
Look, tell everybody about us, man. Appreciate
All right.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
peace.
Bye-bye.
Peace. But one thing about it though, Kenya, and shout out G. Lou. Thank you for the call, man. We appreciate y'all
Shout out to
out
G.
there.
Lou and G. Lou Show and Queen
Yeah.
Jean and Flossie and all the whole crew over there, and we love all y'all.
Yeah, man. Much love. One thing about it is strictly because the thing is, and being the older distinguished gentleman we are, because me and King, we have all types of crazy, funny conversations off the air about it, because people got to remember, like, for our young bucks out there, now everybody talks about how things went down, how things go down now. I'm like, dude,
Right.
y'all don't even understand how this was going down in '93, and this is before social media.
Right.
This is before social
Can you imagine?
media. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Oh, let me
think
tell
about
you.
the stuff
Oh,
we didn't see.
If social media, oh my God, do you know? Oh, it would have been. I was just telling somebody because nobody understand this. Nobody knew nobody's business. Nobody knew whose relationship, who. Well, I beg to differ. My shit got out there. I mean, when on everything, me and Dad separated. I did not know how, what, when, where, but it showed it get out there. I'm like, dang. His stuff ain't out there, but I'm just the ex, and damn, my little relationships, my little side niggas, all this stuff is out there. Like, goddamn, for real? How'd that get out there? This ain't even, how I get out there? God damn it. Like, I mean, let me just tell y'all, we done had fights in the court, the criminal court building, over New York radio station. I mean, and this is over, God damn it, over me when we're not together, me dealing with somebody else, and it's always something. I'm like, damn, can I breathe? I'm not even the rapper. How the fuck is my business getting out there? Hey, how did I get out there? I mean, I said, damn, it's normally the man that, you go out there and do your thing, but then when I go swerve, it's like, I'm like, dang, how y'all find out I'm in Miami this weekend? How the fuck you find out who's at my house? What the fuck? We don't even have the internet. Damn.
Man. I mean, but one thing about it.
We want to kick
I almost started the East Coast War. I almost started the East Coast War myself in '98, and I wasn't even with Dad. It was almost a part 2 on everything.
Oh Lord.
For nothing.
Oh shit.
Oh. It was some bullshit. And I'm going to tell it because I don't think it's ever been told. So, fuck it. All right, so, me and Dad are done, and he's going off. The guys got they got women. They going on about their lives, right? And for me, my place of refuge, whenever I needed to, lay my head down, I would go to New York. That was just my spot because I worked there, everything. So I started dating this one cat out of New York, right, who was he had the number 1 song at that point. And, oh, boy, that did not sit well. Oh, shit. That was just, I'm like, okay, well, we have dates. We're going to have to kind of go to your town because we can't come here because, I don't know who's going to be tripping, but I remember one time it was on the radio station and he kind of got threatened, and I took it personal. Like, you can't be threatening my new boo. Don't play with me. Don't do it. But I just imagine that shit being out there. Oh my God, internet would have been bad. See, y'all have never heard about it. That's a good thing. See, but if it was internet, it would have been bad. It would have been bad.
Only on Off the Cuff Radio, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, do you get these type of hilarious exclusives. But the wild thing about it though is. Because this is a perfect amalgam of comedy, academia, and seriousness all at the same time. Because what we're talking about at the time is, because we're still like at that time. I mean, because we're obviously, there was a lot of stuff. It's already been spoken on ad nauseum. So the whole death row history on a lot of levels doesn't need to be told because we've heard those stories. But in terms of certain nuances of it. Just in terms of the street element of it, because on one hand of it, I guess I'll start from this perspective. did you all really understand that you were going to be like when the album? Okay, because a lot of people don't know that Death Row started off as Future Shot Records in '91 before it actually was before the name became Death Row. A lot of people don't know that. And the record was recorded around '91 to early '92. When you heard the album, Kenya, did you all know that not only would this be a classic album, but this would revolutionize the way hip hop was found from then on, from East and West Coast? Because that album was just monumental in terms of the influence that it would bring. Did you all know what was coming with that? And this is not even a little bit. Before Snoop's album drops next year, the next year, '93. But Chronic '92, Snoop '93. Bam. I mean, nobody
knew. No, nobody knew. Of course, nobody never knew. I mean, because you're thinking of Cube's prior album, and then NWA. No one could have even thought that the Chronic would set the precedence of like West Coast history. No, and then Snoop brought more heat, and then the Dog Pound. I mean, it just when you sit back and think about it, like we didn't realize all those moments. Nobody realized that. I mean, all the moments spent, all the things that just all those pictures taken, the moments spent, all that, it's gone down in history. It's really gone down in history.
I mean,
really, it was legendary. I mean, think about we did everything as a family. Should kept us all together. You know, we wouldn't let too many outsiders in. I mean, the women. All that, we didn't let too many outsiders in. I mean, of course, the guys might have been skirting a lot, but they couldn't come in our circle. You should have made that point. You could not coming in. You got to stay out there and stay in the cold. Stay in the cold. You know, if this is us, this is all of us here. You know, this is us, and we didn't know that. We didn't know.
Yeah.
I tell you what. You know how I'm reminded. I hit my old address in. That first house that me and Dad bought up in Silver Lake Hills that we paid like almost $500,000 for, and that sucker's like almost $5 million now. Oh, that kicked my ass. I'm like, God damn it! Damn! I'm like, damn! Just a piece of property that had the long. I mean, something. How did we? And I know, and I found that house. And Marcus Johnson, the ex-basketball player, shout out to his ex-wife, Jocelyn Johnson. She's the one, me and her found that house because I said, I want behind gates, I want security, I want 24-hour security, I want an iron gate, and I want to drive up to the driveway like it's the freaking, like, you know, it's like just all the way. And I got everything I wanted. And when you think about that, you know, when people say, like, oh, Suge did this to the artist, that to the artist, let's be clear, the artist lived really good. Everybody had their own houses, and that house, you know, when we had homes, it was in our names. I went and got the house thing, and, you know, we put money up, and it was in Dad's and our names. It was, Suge didn't, you know, from my perspective, I mean, whatever, you know, they say that he robbed him for it. Nah, bro, you guys were all living good. Everybody was living good. I mean, people were living so good, it was fucking ridiculous. I mean, everybody. And I haven't seen those days like that since then. How about that?
You know, but one thing about it, when we look at that, we look back at that time because I got Source magazines, because like I told you when we talked off the air, I have every Source magazine since 1994. So this is a couple of years in terms of it. So I got between Death Row articles and covers, I got that 96 issue with Suge and the Rolls Royces, the white and the red one on the cover. I got the 95 issue. Yeah, I got that 95 cover with Jewel, Daz, Corrupt, Nate Dogg, rest in peace on that cover where they do that Western style saloon shoot.
Yeah, I had that on my wall for a long time. That one, it was the Source magazine. I think it was the Source magazine, and they were all dressed in back in, it was like a 1940s look.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah. And I mean, of course, Snoop in '96, where they were talking, where he's just kind of reflecting on that whole situation when he was going, that was because this was a shoot he did in accordance with accompanying the MTV Video Music Awards, with the lightning bolts in the back and he's looking up to the sky, and I mean, you all really, really, really turned the hip hop world on its ear, and the West Coast had already kind of, was already doing it. You all kicked it in an overdrive because when we look at that, just in the albums that came out in addition to y'all. I mean, we look at 93 with Cam Never Again. We look at 1992, Compton's Most Wanted, Music to Drive By.
Quick is the Name.
Quick is the Name. I think that was 90. No, what was the King? I think Safe and Sound was at 95, I believe.
Yeah, that was 90. That was 95.
95. So then South Central Cartel, and Good Friends of Ours, and Gats We Trust, 1994. Boss, Born Gangsters, 1993. I mean, you all on the West Coast collectively orchestrated. I can't forget one of my favorite MCs of all time, King T, the Trifling album.
King T, oh my God, King T, yes.
I mean,
that was King T was banging it back in '88 and '89. That dude was doing it back then. He opened the gates for half it. Toddy T, him, all those guys, Mixmaster Spade, all of them. I mean, God, these guys, Uncle Jam's Army, all of them, they opened up the door for this, for everybody to come in.
Yeah, and
they left Coast Wave was crazy.
Man, I mean, we
and the underground scene was dope.
Yeah,
and you guys know who MC Ren's when MC Ren was a part of NWA early days, right? This is before
DJ Train.
No, not Train. Him and Train were best friends, you know that. But this is around the time with him and Train.
Right.
His first favorite rapper. Can y'all guess who MC Ren's favorite rapper was? And this is in '88. Because I remember me and him had this conversation probably like at the concert in '88 who his favorite rapper was, and I was thrown back. It was Too Short.
He
used to like that
Too
song.
Short. Okay, the best.
Girl, our name is Don. He said he used to bump that in his Datsun B210. I'm like, damn. I said, really? You like? Yeah, Too Short. He's dope. That was Ren's favorite artist. Too Short.
We can't forget Ren when he did the Kiss My Black Ass EP with Final Frontier and Mayday on the Front Line in '93. I mean, man.
Yeah, but take it back to them, and when he was doing it, the villain was doing that back in '88 and '89. I remember the concert in '89 at the Celebrity Theater, and them guys, we were kids going to that concert, but they tore it up. I was like, damn, this first gangster rap concert, and I was like, it ended with a fight, but it was dope. It always ends with a fight and a whole bunch of chairs. You can hear me gunfire. It was this whole bunch of chairs and bottles, and we just had to hide under our seats. That was the thing, hide under your seat.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was.
I'm thinking about that whole Boondocks episode where Riley talked about, how every time he's going to show it up, bring out somebody else's chair. I was like,
right.
Oh my God. I mean, but you all on the West Coast, man. I mean, shout out to Richie Rich, because Richie Rich was telling us about those old, because Too Short from the Bay. And we got to give love to the Bay. We got to give a love to the 415, the 408, the 831, 707.
I'm talking about the whole Vallejo and all of them. Yeah, because all of them, let me tell you, they spent a lot of time at my house. The whole Vallejo crew from E40 and all of them. And some of the guys, I still had numbers on some of the guys who had passed away, like all that whole crew, Richie Rich's crew, and then Drew Down and all of them, Rappin' Forte. I still talk to Rappin' Forte all the time, but dang, those guys, the Oakland guys over the Vallejo, they were always we had a studio at the bottom of our house, and all the time, 40 Water and all of them will always be there. I mean, I can always see faces, and I think that those guys were down there more than anybody, always there, always.
Yeah.
All of them.
D-Shot. I mean, Sugar T. We interviewed her last year. But when we really started seeing, because Rap City was like, that was our street light when I was in school back in the day, high school. We were home to watch it, so we got introduced to a lot of the Bay Area. I mean, I did, in terms of, of course,
it's the West Coast scene,
rapping.
period.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, rapping Bay, out of Frisco, the Players Ball. I mean, Off Parole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mac Dre, Too Hard for the Radio.
Mac Dre. Mac Dre.
Yes.
Man.
Because I would say this too. Because I would say this too.
Yeah.
Because I would say this too. See, throughout the 90s when y'all was flourishing, that made us out-of-towners want to see y'all. Because in the 80s and the late 80s, we were scared of y'all. Real talk. When we saw what y'all had going on with NWA and Compton's Most Wanted, we were like, nah, man. West Coast is like the Vietnam of the United States. We ain't trying to come out there, son. Right. But when Quick came out there, then Death Row came out there, y'all had more of them jams. We were like, yo, we want to be a part of that atmosphere.
Right.
Y'all brought a lot of fun factor into the game too.
It was nonstop. Those years, you got to know that those years we lived. We didn't even know that you were living on the edge. You didn't even know. Like, you had no idea it was just a way of life. And then you look back on it now, and you're like, damn, we were living on the fucking edge. How? How do we survive that and that and that and that? Crazy. And you know who else? But I want to bring it, but we got to bring the Southern in there, because you guys understand Daz was from the West Coast, but he spent a lot of time in Tulsa, Oklahoma, right? So Daz had met all the guys, the Mysticals, the MJG, 8 Ball, all of them. I remember going to see them. Like, I remember going to see them all the.
Hello, we here?
Yeah, I think she got dropped. She's gonna. I hope she's gonna call back. Yeah. Can you call back a little?
Yeah, can you call back? Call back. Yeah, Yeah,
you know how Blog Talk be. Here you go. Here she go right here.
Okay.
Yeah,
perfect,
sorry about
perfect.
that. Something happened. You got it glitched.
No, you good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you think about the Mysticals. I remember Daz met those guys before they even got their hands in it. I mean, he was going down there, touching with before it was popular to go down there to Houston. We were down there in the wards, going down there to see all these different people. And it was Daz that kind of opened up the door. It was Daz that opened up the door for, like, the E40s and them. He befriended them. They were with him. So I just, I think about it. I mean, that dude was young, but his hands were in a lot of places, I mean, music-wise, because he understood the Southern music. He understood the Bay Area music when nobody wasn't really messing with them like that. He did. He did. He opened up the door for a lot of those guys to be a part of this circle. As I'm talking, I'm just remembering all these different faces, and just traveling to Houston, Texas to see these people, or traveling to here to go see them, or going to Tulsa, or going here to go see these people. It was a beautiful thing. I mean, those moments, hip-hop history of Death Row days, it just opened up the doors.
One thing about it, while Dre is credited for a lot of the music, how much does Daz we can't forget Daz's contributions and some of the stuff he's done.
All.
How big was Daz instrumental? Because I mean, tell us about his contributions in terms of the production and all of that, in terms of what Death Row was doing at that time as well.
Daz did a lot and didn't get credited for, because when you have him, and rest in peace, Emmanuel Dean, Pochop, they were young kids coming from, they were out of Tulsa, and Dre didn't credit Daz for a lot of things. I mean, Daz was responsible for a lot of the music that Dre took credit for.
We've heard those stories. We've heard those stories. A lot of things he did. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Daz was a talent, is a talent, and I just think they took his kindness for weakness. We're going to get these young kids in the studio. We're going to have them working.
We're going to get them to do the snares and the drums and do all the loops and all that stuff, but we're not going to give them credit for it. Daz was responsible for a lot. A lot of the What's My Name, all the things at the beginning, the Snoop Dogg album, Daz had his hand on it, and he just did not get no credit. So, people got to give it to him. I mean, I see a lot of these producers getting credit, and it kind of infuriates me because I'm like, Daz is better than this person. He came out before him. How is he getting this? How is he getting that? This dude done paved the way. How is he suddenly popular and all this? This dude done opened up the gate. So it's just, I just think that, Daz is a quiet guy. He didn't, ask for all the, the attributes behind it. He should have pushed and pushed and pushed, It just wasn't him. You see him more vocal these days. He's responsible for a lot of stuff. And believe me, if he told you he did it, 9 times out of 10 he did. He just didn't get credit for it.
Because when we heard that Revenge,
people overlook his contribution. I was saying people overlook that his contributions to All Eyes on Me. Like, even people were thinking Dre did that whole album. I'm like, nah, son, Daz did that, man. Some of those loops and some of the way he put those beats together. And Bishop as a Rider and all that.
Yeah, I mean, like I tell people, when my mind made up, that was Daz's beat. He was using that for something else. Tupac just happened to like that, and he took some of the vocals off and switched it to his stuff. But Daz had created a lot of that, Gangsta Party, a lot of that. I mean, dude was a genius. He is a genius. They just haven't given him his credit, and he deserves his credit, because he's a great producer. He's a part of, and when you say Dr. Dre, in those days, you got to say Daz too. Okay, you got to say Emmanuel Dean too. You got to say them too. They were part of it. They were part of that movement. They were.
And one thing about it, I think that whole Death Row era just really encapsulated the West Coast because, I mean, like King said, California made us nervous. When we saw the videos, all the videos, the lowriders, girls, we were like, we want to come to L.A. I don't know.
The weather, the women, and the weed.
Yeah.
And when you came down here, we lived up to every one of your expectations, didn't we? We gave it to you. When you came down to LA, you were going to get it all. You're going to get it all. We were going to serve it to you on a platter. What you want? You want some weed? Okay. You want some pretty girls? Okay. Here you go. You want some nice weather? Every day.
Look, and just because even though I was born and raised Hampton Roads, 2 up, 2 down, Seaside, Virginia, Chesapeake where I reside. I mean, I got to shout out, Ladera Heights, Baldwin Hills, got to shout out, what I'm saying, got to shout out Vallejo, East West Oakland, especially, the women out there, y'all just, I especially got a thing for Bay chicks. Oh my God,
man, Cali women, Cali women are melt our hearts for real.
Yes.
Yeah,
one of my homegirls.
That's why we get lost in the sauce when we come out there.
Yeah.
Hey, right now you just got to push through the plastic now because unfortunately back in the days what you seen was everything was the hair, the nails, the body, all that was the OG, and you guys love that. Right now you got to push through the plastic and all the BS, to get to the real deal. And I guess that's all around. That's everywhere. It's not just here. It's everywhere. The natural.
Man, that's just society. That's just society right there.
Yeah.
But
I was just thinking, I'm like, back in the days, everything. I remember, you go to Cancun, everybody just was looking at everybody's hair, their nails, their face. Everything was so natural. God, and now it's like, okay, you got to see who got the biggest plastic booty and who done messed up their face. I have to look on there, and I'm like, who done messed up their face with plastic surgery? Because a lot of people have messed their face up. Somebody told them they get a different nose, and now they look weird. I'm like, come on, you were looking good all them days. Why you going to mess it up? Everybody wants the same Michael Jackson, Donatella nose. You don't need that.
Yeah, the rhinoplasty and all. Everybody wants that same rhinoplasty. And when I look at it, because I think that's why that era for us is so we rever it with such respect and fondness in our sentiment that is so sincere, because when you look at pictures of Aaliyah, rest in peace, Angel, I'm gonna throw another one out there and I'm gonna throw another group out there for a lot of the heads that if you really know your R&B, especially on the West Coast, two groups. And I was in love with all of these girls. Oh, God, the things that would have went down with me and all of them. 7669 and YNV. Whew. Boy.
Wait, you said 7669?
7669. They had their album, I believe, was on Motown, released 1993, called From a Bad Block. They had a song called So High and Joy. I remember when I first saw, I think I want to say they're from South Central. Then, of course, YNB, because I was big on a lot of West Coast girls back in the day. I mean, Smooth, of course. I mean, I saw her in that video for You've Been Played, and I just seen a bathing suit and some overalls, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm in love. I was 15 at the time. That was off the Menace to Society soundtrack, one of the bangingest ass soundtracks. Oh God! Shout out
Top
to
5.
EAC, Spice One, MCA.
Spice One, yes. Spice One. I remember that was the Freaknik days. You got to listen to. You got to have Spice One, have some Luke on, Too Short, go to Freaknik. That was the music. That was it. That was the music.
You they're trying to bring that back, right?
It's not
never
going
to be the Freaknik of the 90s.
Nah.
It's never going to be like it was
Can you
in the 90s,
imagine the Freaknik now? It would get shot up, and it would be just, oh my God. And it's not that the college, the whole college scene. It was such a bond. I mean, we would go to the Howard homecoming. You wear your Howard sweatshirts, and you go to you be in D.C. and you hit Atlanta. Half the kids aren't even in college anymore. I mean, it's not popular these days to be at a HBC. Like, it was important during them days to perform there, to go there, to be a part of that whole unity thing. And it doesn't seem like people make it that important. Like, Freaknik would just be a whole bunch of street dudes and street girls running around. It wouldn't be the college whole thing, because they would mix. They're not going to mix at this point. That's two different crowds.
No. And when
not to mention, everybody is so want to put themselves on camera. It's only a matter of time before somebody go live on the gram and the nigga catch his wife out, or his mom, or his girl, or his mama out there doing some freaky stuff.
God. Oh, you guys, what if the gram was during the Freaknik times? Oh, my God. It would have been bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, the funny thing about it is in certain adult video stores, you could find some of that footage that they will put it out. And I'm like, me and my peoples will see that, and we're like, and you got to remember, y'all, I'm like, at the peak of Freaknik, I'm 14, 15 years old, so I wouldn't go to Atlanta for the first time until I was 16. Right. I remember my dad drove past. We were riding past Spelman. So for those that don't know out there, Spelman is an all-girls school. So I'm young. Right. We just riding past. We in a Lexus. I look outside, and I'm like seeing all these college girls. I'm about to tell Dad, let me out.
Right.
I'm like, leave me on that campus for about 5-6 hours. I'll be okay. Trust me. And I'm out of town too. Oh yeah, I will be all right. So
you gonna be all right?
I'll be more than all right. I might not. I'll be feeling Jack Tripp with more than three's company around me, man. So I mean. But when you look at that era, though, because it's just one of those things that I tell, and I tell people, like, especially with the music, the bass music that was coming up from Miami, Clay D, Magic Mike, Splat Pack, all them, it's like that whole era was just a total vibe, man. And I mean, I was too young to, I couldn't get there, and, but I tell anyone, who was there, you lived a golden era that we will never see again. Not at that level that Atlanta used to do it. I mean, God, the stories we heard about what it was like at Freaknet. I mean, whole Peachtree we shut down. Peachtree Street is like shut down. I mean, the underground.
Peachtree, the I-20, get out on the freeway, start jumping on the cars. Oh my God, the whole Piedmont Park was filled up. It was just freaking amazing.
And it was no violence.
No violence. It was nothing. I mean, everybody got along. We didn't have to worry about it. I mean, if you heard something about it was a random gunfire, it'd be like, for real? Nah, it wasn't nothing there. Nah, it was nothing. That it was a beautiful thing. And then you had Jack the Rapper, all the music conventions that we used to go to, all the How Can I Be Down, everything. Meet up in Cancun weekend. They don't have this love that we had in the 90s. I don't know what they're doing now. I mean, I have no idea, but it was all about going to school, or being a part of the college crowd. You're young. It was just beautiful.
And especially
I really don't think it'll ever come back.
And especially me going to an HBCU. Shout out to Norfolk State. Behold the green and gold. It's just a different vibe going to a HBCU and then it really mingling, because nowadays niggas, you come to a different spot, niggas might ice grill you. They don't know you. You were going there back in the day.
Oh, you can get a lot of player hate going on.
Yeah, but you go there back in the day. It's like, yo, what's going on? Well, I'm from here. I'm from there. Yo, it's good to meet you. There was a real kinship. There was a brotherhood. There was a sisterhood.
Right.
They're not going to give you a tour.
Yeah.
Where do you think it changed to a degree in terms of how did where do you think the culture shifted, Kenya? Yeah.
Yeah, but with the culture went, I mean,
how did it change in terms
we have to say the music. Of course, the music when Napster came in, of course that took all the music away, right? And I think the culture went bye-bye when the social media whole play came in, because it was kind of good to just be anonymous with things. Like, people did not know exactly what you were doing or exactly where you were. I mean, it's no type of exclusive. You can't be exclusive now. Everybody knows everything. Music-wise, I mean, they drop it. They put it up on the Instagram. It's out there now. No one's buying the album. It's nothing exclusive now. It's nothing. Everything is right now, here and now. It's the microwave. We're in the microwave era, and that's the music too. I mean, because look at the level of shit that's out there. I have to shake my head when I'm figuring out who's getting a deal. I'm like, they're rich and they got a deal. Like, what? And this one guy, and I don't want to mention, he's a rapper, and I guess people like him a lot. And he's not from L.A. or nothing. But he's the weirdest rapper. I'm trying to figure out why he's rich. Like, he sucks. And I'm like, God, like, it's come to that. Like, we had good music, and it was good content. You knew when you went to Atlanta, you go get the Dungeons family, and you're going to get all that good music. And when you went to New York, and when you went to the Bay Area, you went to Texas, you went all up and down there, you knew you were going to get good music. Virginia, you knew that Teddy Riley's whole crew was up there. It was good music. Now, it's just, I don't know what the shit is. I'm trying to figure out how people keep getting deals, because I'm listening to the music, and I'm like, is this like, how did he get a deal? How?
I know Method Man was talking. And, Uncle Meth, he was talking a couple months ago when he was like, how are these new artists getting all this money? He's like, I've been in this game almost 30 years. He's like, I can account for all my money come from. Yeah. He's like, where are they getting all this money?
Walking around with wads and wads and wads and wads of cash. And, like, I think when I went to Atlanta, I was there for 8 years in Atlanta. And I remember when I got to Atlanta, the first, and I just went down there to visit, but the first movie I worked on was ATL. So this is new to me. I'm working on ATL. You got this kid, T.I., and all these people. And the only person I knew was Donna Ross's son, Evan, because Evan used to be on the set of Girlfriends, so I didn't really know, all about the Atlanta culture, right? I didn't know. But I got down there, and I'm like, oh, my God, they go to strip clubs every night like a party. And then all the guys, T.I. would leave set, and he would leave accidentally leave $15,000-$20,000 in his wardrobe, his clothes. And we would have to always call him. Tip, you just left 2 wads of money. Oh, okay. Just save it for me for tomorrow. I'm like, what? You not come back to get money? They're walking around with wads. We didn't do that. Everybody had banks and accountants, and I don't know. It changed crazy because we didn't live like that. Money. They had black cards, American Express cards. They had this. Now these guys just walk around with everything is in their pockets, but then their bank accounts are looking good too. What the fuck did we miss? But one thing that we did, we were owning things. We were owning properties, owning cars, owning prime properties, albums, they were going platinum plaques. I mean, you're going to get a platinum plaque. You're going to get 3 platinum plaques. These days, if they go gold, that's a good thing. They're celebrating. And I'm like, you're celebrating just going gold? That ain't shit. Because Daz and Crep and them used to go platinum on everything they touch. Why aren't you, I'm asking them, why aren't you going platinum? You satisfied with gold? Huh? Really?
He got a gold. He got a few gold records on the wall.
Yeah.
Where your platinum at?
Where's your platinum plaques at? Show me your platinums, and we can talk. I believe that hip hop is going to come around. I believe that we're going to get back to what it is. It's just a season, and the mumble. It's the mumble time. I mean, Future and all those guys, made it popular, and I believe it's going to come back around to the real battling, the real lyrics, the corrupt, the lyrical assassin. I like hip hop like that, where you're telling me something and it just, my mind is going. I just heard your bars, and God, it's good. Now these kids, they're just going, whatever they're saying. I'm like, but that was not even a bar. What did you just say? That don't even make no sense.
Which was why it was important for the Locks and the Dipset versus to be successful the way it was, because now it set the bar to where we're coming back to proper MCing, and seeing Jadakiss get his flowers is a beautiful thing.
Jadakiss, he got his roses that day, and he let these young dudes know this is what you do. This is how you come to a party. This is how you come and show up and show out and have them bars, and really have those bars in your head, not reading from your phone, off your head. Come and serve me now. And nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to go up against him. I was just waiting for one of the young little rappers to say, I can take him on. Okay, well, let's do another verses and see. Let's see.
Man, look.
Now, the only thing they can do is troll. That's all they can do.
Yeah. Oh, and the trolls, God. The trolls who come out, all the people who have to block themselves at Instagram, hide behind the keyboard. Come out wherever you are. Why? Hiding is not cool. Come out.
And one thing about it, I've always said,
I don't know. It's just, I think hip hop is an evolution. I think it's just going to keep on spinning. One thing for sure, Death Row, all of this is what we talked about. You'll be talking about this from generation to generation. We're not going to be talking about the the Yachties and all them. We're not going to talk about them in 2 generations. They won't know them. Because they haven't done anything for really the culture. Culture itself. What did you do for the culture? Did you cause an impact on this culture? No. So they'll be gone, and we'll remember this part in history, and, I'll forget it. I'm good. I want real hip-hop back.
Yeah, one thing about it, as we close out on it, because we got to say this, shout out to Timbaland and Swift Beats for coming up with the verses, because not only is that a great event, it's also musical education, and it also shows the younger generation how the elders paved the way in terms of what, Jada gave a master class from how, because basically, let's just keep it real, y'all. The Locks put on a damn stage show, which was excellent. They gave a real show. And Dipset, it's those guys, it's you know, you got to come out there. You got to be prepared, because when you're at Madison Square Garden in front of the crowd like they were, I'm like, dude, you gotta present it. You know, come out. It's, you know, and it goes back to artists today in terms of it. This is if you're gonna treat it like a job, present it as
the preparation and performance,
yeah.
my brother.
Yeah.
That's what you had to learn coming into the game, bro. Like, you could tell who was seasoned. Yeah, you could tell who was already seasoned, because those guys came from under Puffy, and Puffy had, you know, when you coming from under Puff, you're going to have to really be on your A game. It's the same way when you even look at guys like Snoop and Dre when he performs, and even the Dog Pound. They came under Suge. You come from under the umbrellas where you had to compete for your spot.
Yeah. Yep. And it's a lot of people that got kicked off. I mean, you know, that famous Red Room. There was a lot of people that came in there that showed their expertise. They never made the cut. Never made that cut.
You know, and even with the Locks and Puffy, even though they had their differences, Jada said Puffy called them and was like, "This is how y'all win it." Puffy told them, "Do your mixtape material, do freestyles." He's like, some of that stuff will crush them just alone. And they did it, and it was but that era, even with what was going on with Death Row, Bad Boy, you both collectively did something in terms of define an era. For that, we cannot thank you enough. King,
T-Max.
This has been,
T-Max. I got to chime in on this one before I because you know this is a prime example of performance being very important. Now,
go ahead.
I don't know if Kenya was there that night, but were you over there at the House of Blues where Pop performed?
Yep, I was somebody had footage of that, and because I was on stage, and I've been, you know me, I move my way everywhere. She'll tell me I can go, I'm gonna go, and I was there on the side. I remember when they came out, and I kept trying to push myself to the front. I'm like, damn, I gotta get up here. But yeah, that performance was a legendary performance. Legendary.
Yeah, the reason why I bring that up is because I look at the performances, because, you know, I pay attention to that. That's what makes a star. And it usually, and I'm thinking they had Snoop as, you know, as mainly the face, but Tupac was the opening act. Tupac came through, opened it up, and just killed the shit. Just took the crowd away.
Yeah.
So Snoop had to come out more aggressive. And Snoop came out more aggressive. I ain't never even seen Snoop. Yeah. So usually Snoop come in with the laid-back performances and all that, but he came more aggressive. So I was like, wow, these guys are really competing for that number one spot. That makes the music even greater.
Yeah, I mean, Pop pushed it to another level. I mean, when he came in, you know, he made everybody step up to the plate, you know, and really push harder, because he was giving it to everybody. So you had to, if you didn't want to be forgotten, then you had stepped up. And that, I just think about that night. I'm like, damn, you know, that was the Outlaws, how young they were and how hungry they were. I mean, just everybody. God, legendary, right?
It was, and I mean, when you look
I still got
at
the DVD. I got a hard copy of it.
Yeah, Pac came and he took. That's his stage presence, man. It was nobody that could fuck with him that night. That was his House of Blues. That was his. He owned that night.
And I mean, this is Pac, you know, coming in after pretty much, you know, after he, you know, gets with Death Row. But I tell people, and I guess that's the thing, because much of the chagrin of people, although Pac is one of my favorite rappers, I don't, you know, he's not my favorite rapper personally in terms of, I don't, you know, from that level, but in terms of it, he's one of my favorites. My all-time favorite is Cool G Rap. But what Pac did, he brought an attitude, he brought a presence. And I guess I get annoyed when people talk about how they're Pac fans. I'm like, okay, name Pac's album, and then do me one better. Name 3 songs off of that first album. I can do it. You know what I'm saying? You know, but a lot of people really don't know Pac until after, you know, he did Me Against the World. And I'm like, it was a great album, one of the all-time great albums. I'm like, You know, I'm like, did y'all listen strictly for my niggas? Did you listen to Tupacalypse Now? Did you listen to When My Homie Calls? Did you listen to Temptation? Did you listen to Trap? You know, I mean, you know, I'm like, this is, you know, like, you know, but he's missed today. He is so missed.
30 years later, he's still making an impact.
Yeah. I mean,
you know.
If you look on like Art of Dialogue every week, and this is, I guess I'm always chiming in on it because, you know, I always got to put my 2 cents in there, and if I feel like somebody's, you know, disrespecting him, so many people will come out saying, "Oh, I was going to be a passenger in the car." Yeah, they called me.
Yeah, because they talk about that.
Like, really? You were never going to be a passenger, nobody. You weren't even up at death row's offices. You weren't even at, I said, everybody just said anything has never been up to Club 662. I said, well, where were you? Ever. I mean, ever.
Yeah. Next thing you know, I'm telling you, like I told T-Max this. I said, next thing you know, you're going to see Hulk Hogan. He's going to have a story.
Yeah. I'm just like, everybody got a story. They were supposed to ride in the car with him. I'm like, he was friends with that person? Like, I had never seen any of these people that are saying that up at Death Row, at any of the offices, any of them. Not one office. I have not seen anybody, any of them, up at the office ever, hanging out. I mean,
they weren't on Wilshire.
You know,
they were not at Wilshire.
Yeah. Not at the Wilshire office, because it was the first office was 10900 Wilshire, and then they moved down to Wilshire San Vicente. That's the second office. So I'm like, where were you? I mean, shit.
They gonna give you the districts. They gonna tell you that their mind was foggy.
Yeah, because I'm like, dang. I said everybody waits 25 years later to start saying they were there and all that, and I get it. Somebody had made a comment, well, people just want to get along. They want to get along now. I'm like, but get along and tell the truth. Like, don't get along and lie. I mean, I know
don't be capping.
It's kind of the...
Like, don't be capping. I'm like, y'all vote on Wilshire? We're going to make a song. Y'all vote on Wilshire.
It's like, yo, that you bad. It's getting to that point where people just want to attach themselves to history. You know how many people that we heard talk about? Yeah, I talked to Pop that night. I was in Tyson fight that night. Hey, nigga, you was locked up. We got your transcript.
Yeah, but you know how it goes.
Doing time, man.
That's how legends do it. Kenya, this has been, oh my God, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, I think her call got dropped, man. But I'm gonna tell her after we get off the air to thank her.
Yes. King, this is one of our best shows.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, and you know what? It's gonna be more to come. It's gonna get scarier. So we about to dip up out of here before they go ahead and shut us up. So hopefully we'll see y'all again this Friday. Same time, same channel, you dig? Big shout out to Kenya, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, man. God bless everyone listening. You know, East and West Coast, man. You know, 213 to the 718, man. You know, all around. You know, we love y'all. Thank you again. We see y'all again Friday, and we out. Peace.
Y'all.